Hello folks, Mike Akins here from Coffee Roastery. Here with a coffee video talking about two of our new seasonal coffees. Yolo Coffee, coffee, and delicious stuff. So today I'm going to brew some coffee with these. We can talk about some flavor notes, which is pretty exciting. My job here at Coffee Roastery give you a little background. I do coffee roasting and green buying. So in our handshake program, we want to make really good relationships with every coffee. We try to buy the same coffees every year as much as we can. So that's my job, kind of create those relationships, find the good coffees, and manage the supply chain. And then I get to roast them when they're here, part of the roasting team I am. Yeah, so every year going through and basically the classics stay the same, but we need to re-roast them, maybe find a little bit different roast profile every year, as they are a natural product. The coffees do change from year to year. I'll do some V60s, which is a great way to make coffee at home. This V60 set, the O2 size is quite good because it's versatile. Today I'll use a recipe that's 15 grams of coffee and 250 grams of water, which makes about like 1.5. So you can still split it with someone else if you want to, but you can also make with this, you can make 24 and 400 and even more than that if you want to. So you can definitely make 2 cups of coffee at the same time with this. The other cool thing about this is you can make one and then later you can make another one. And so you can make smaller cups so you can kind of try different coffees during the day if you want to. The V60 does use a paper filter. What the paper filter gives you is it filters out all the fat and oils. So it's not all gone, but it's the fat and oils are kind of the flavor of the coffees. But this does clean it up, keeps the grit out. If you like cleaner coffees, you get a little bit cleaner acidity, and it does clean up the middle flavors as well. So you can really experience them a little bit better. When you make coffees without paper filters, they can tend to be kind of gritty, which is for some times a really good thing. But in this case, we're gonna keep it clean. So, important step always when brewing filter coffee, and especially the V60, is to rinse this paper filter out. It is made of wood, and it does have some glue in it. So we wanna get all those flavors out. Rinse it with a little hot water. You can also do this with your home filter brewer, which is another good tip. If you're brewing coffee at home, always rinse your paper filter out. That also helps to form and conform the paper filter to the filter basket, which in this case a cone. Dump that coffee out. Classic mistake, don't dump the water out, and then you get coffee that has twice as much water as it's supposed to have. Not good. That. So I'm gonna grind these coffees up. Grind size is a little bit finer than filter coffee, but this is, again, you adjust this at home. So start with, say, oh, what's a good size? Go 1 less than filter coffee. If your filter coffee is 8, go with a 7, then try it from there. If you like the coffee, if it's too weak or too strong, too weak, grind it a little finer. If it's too strong, you can grind it a little coarser. That will kind of help fix your brew recipes. Other good reason to use a smaller amount of coffee at one time is you can do the recipe again if you want to get it nailed. Grinder. Always smell the coffee after you grind it. I don't know, you gotta do it. Gives you a little preview of what your coffee might taste like. And also, roasted and ground coffee smells amazing right when you grind it. So I'm gonna get some boiled water. Back with our boiled water. For today's recipe, I'm using water that is 91. I know that because in this Hario Buono kettle, it has a little attachment, and you can buy this, comes with a lid for your Hario kettle, and a thermometer goes in. If you don't have a water kettle with a boiling, like with a temperature gauge in it that you can set the temperature, this is a really good way. Like if you stovetop boil or whatever it is, you'll know kind of exactly. So even when I pour from that water boiler, which is 95, the water is only about 91 or 92 inside here. Important to know, so then you can adjust your recipe accordingly. Hotter water is gonna brew faster, colder water is gonna brew slower. So if you, for some reason in your boiling method, get 89-degree water, you're gonna wanna try to brew it a little longer, finer grind size, something like that. So 15 grams in. In the bucket. So 15 grams in, we give it a little shake just to make it nice and even. So then when we start pouring the water, we can evenly wet the coffee. It's a lot easier to evenly wet it when you shake it out. The wetting phase, this is an important part of the V60. It's actually important in all filter coffee. This is the hard part for home brewers. When you're pouring from this, you get to exactly make sure that all this ground coffee is getting wet. Why is that important? If you don't, the water will start to channel, which means it'll go faster through one area than it does another. So you over extract this side and under extract this side. So you get over extracted flavors and half your coffee doesn't get wet. So it's kind of annoying. In home, obviously without the water pouring, then it's hard to do that. So we'll start our timer, which is built into the Hario scale. I do recommend a scale and a timer for brewing these. It's very important. You can use your phone if you want to. So first step, I pour about 50 grams of water from our 250 recipe, just enough to get all the coffee wet. And this is gonna be your bloom phase, where you're gonna kind of degas the coffee. When you pour the water on, you let the initial kind of burst of gas out, and that actually will kind of hinder the extraction. So we let it sit for about 30 seconds, and then we'll start pouring the rest of our water. Important when you're pouring is to pour kind of slowly and evenly. Flat bed and we're done pouring. 250 grams of water. So now that that's done, you can kind of wait. So don't pour the water too fast because it agitates. If you pour straight in one spot, then it makes a big hole in the middle. It's the same as the channeling. And that's the other cool thing. Obviously with the V60, you can make many cups so you can get it dialed. Once you get your own recipe dialed, you'll notice that you do it the same way every time. That's really important. The total brew time is between 2 minutes and 30 seconds and 3 minutes. Again, if you grind it if you grind it finer, you will extract longer. It'll take the water longer to go through. That's gonna result in more extraction. If you grind it coarser, you're gonna get less extraction. So the first thing you extract is acids. So then you want to decide if the coffee is tasting a little bit, what you say, under extracted or too acidic, or the acidity is too sharp, you can try grinding a little finer. That'll actually give you more body and more bitterness to balance the acidity. With these medium roast coffees, they're medium roast, so they're right in the middle, which makes them really easy to brew. I definitely would suggest, it's nice with the V60, you can play around as much as you want with how long you want it to be, but 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes is quite good. If you want it to be super powerful and really peel your wig back, you can extract it with espresso grind size if you want to. It's kind of a fun experiment, but like you get the idea of what it tastes like to have really over-extracted coffee. And sometimes certain coffees work really well when they're over-extracted. So that's definitely something you want to play with. Aromas, some great aromas in these coffees. On the Talvi coffee, the aromas, you get this nice cane sugar, brown sugar, kind of like steeped in hot water smell, which is really nice from the Guatemala. The Guatemalan coffees are quite dense, normal washed coffees, but they're really dense. And so even with the medium roast, which is, it's not dark, but it's definitely a little bit more roasted than we normally do them, you still get this really nice, dense sweetness. Because the coffees are dense on the outside, when you hit them with a lot of heat, it doesn't just break down all the sugar right away, so you still have these really nice, sweet aromas in there. And the Uganda Natural gives it a nice A little bit fermenty, but mostly in the aromas you're getting that brown sugar flavor, which is one of my personal favorites. Washed Guatemala from La Bolsa in Huehuetenango area. It's a great farm, family business since the 60s, and the cool thing about them, one of the really great stories is they sort of have their own school in the farm because they're in a kind of a remote area. Huehuetenango is where they grow the coffee, but it's quite remote. There's no local school near them, and they do have a lot of migrant labor, so people will work only seasonally there, but it's kind of right in the middle of what would be school season. So important for them was to have a school so that their employees can send their kids to school while they're working. So they hire their own teacher, and yeah, all the kids of the people that work there picking coffee can go to school there. So all the employees have that, which is really nice. We've been working with La Bolsa now 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 years. The other coffee in this blend is Uganda, the other 50%. It's from the Roastery Mountains, and that's a really cool coffee because it comes from a lead farmer. So how they do it there is normally it would be as like a co-op, but this exporter has organized lead farmers. So what they do is they pick people who are really good leaders in the community, and this one happens to be a woman by the name of Bira Anna. The women's part is really important because in Uganda, for instance, there's not a lot of in rural areas jobs for women to do outside of the household. So she's able to be a lead farmer there. She really accepted the challenge well, and is basically a coffee teacher for that area. So all the coffee in her neighborhood she teaches everybody how to pick coffee, how to get it collected correctly so that the flavors are really good. And so it's really kind of like her coffee co-op in a way. So the other cool thing about them is the natural coffees means that the producers, actually like the actual farmers that grow the coffee on their land, all they need to do is pick it and separate it ripe from underripes. And they can get paid the same amount for that as they would if they try to do their own drying operations. So Great Lakes Coffee is our exporter, works like a co-op works. They do education, they also do this infrastructure, which is important because then the producers don't have to buy drying beds, they don't have to buy all kind of other equipment, and they can centralize it, which really makes it actually a lot more efficient for the producer. So they basically get paid more for not having to buy all kind of infrastructure stuff, which is really hard to do up in the mountains anyway. So yeah, some nice dark chocolate notes, spicy, a lot of plums, which I really like. The natural coffee in the Tawi coffee gives it this like, it's quite fruity, but it's a little bit fermented as well, which is great for darker coffees. Really balances out with the medium roast and darker notes. I think like this one we always talk about like being a great companion for cold winter days. Because it's a medium roast too, it's really easy to brew it. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to over extract it a little bit, brew it as like a French press. That's a great way to make this coffee really strong. And it's nice in the winter when it's wicked dark and cold. So there. It's another Kava classic. Some great coffees here. It's quite good. Yeah, but I actually really like this coffee, and I actually really like to over extract this coffee. So French press or even percolator pots are wicked for this because you kind of automatically get this over extraction. The cleaning of the paper filters are really nice too, but I almost suggest that you would grind it a little finer than you normally do. It's a pretty good way to enjoy this coffee. Yolo Coffee. This year we have 3 different coffees in here. Normally our Yolo classics have been 50% Brazil, 50% Ethiopia. This year we added some spice to it. So we still have 50% Brazil, which gives it nice body and really round kind of nutty flavors. Super easy to drink, low acidity, so it's a good base. Then we add 35% Ethiopia. The Ethiopia basically gives it like a touch of like exciting fruits and this acidity that, it's not an acidic coffee, but it's nice to have those acidic notes for balance in there. And then the spice this year is 15% Honduras, but it's not any regular Honduras, it is a macerated natural, which means that They take the coffees and they pre-ferment them in a closed tank for between 40 and 90 hours. In this case, it's from a co-op where they were doing traditionally just washed coffees, but what they realized was with these macerated naturals, they can take a regular, coffee variety. They don't have to grow anything special. They don't have to have all kind of hard to grow coffees. They can have good production levels. But with the macerated naturals, that makes the coffees really intense. And so you're gonna get the really purple fruit notes in the aroma. And that's from that macerated natural. So doing the macerated method really changed their kind of fortune. So they can have a certain amount of really basically expensive coffee for them, which is about double or triple what they normally get paid, depending on the market year. For a washed coffee, they can get that with a macerated natural, and basically all they have to buy extra is the barrels to ferment them in. And then they of course have to be really careful about how long it's in there and pay attention to all that stuff. But that's a really, really cool story. The Ethiopia is a nice wash Ethiopia, really clean. And that's a coffee that kind of everybody likes, and historically we've had a lot of those. It's not like an extra special coffee, but Ethiopian coffees are so dynamic that you get some really great fruit flavors out of there. The Brazilian coffee is from our friends at Fazenda Pinhal, which is, they're our oldest handshake coffee. We've been working with Pedro and his family for now, it's going on 6 years, and it's just a great farm. They have this year introduced this Wings program, which is a new program for them. But what they do is they take captured birds. So in Brazil, there's a lot of these wild, just amazing birds in the jungles and all over the place. And people want to catch them and put them in a cage and take them to wherever their home is and keep them there. Obviously, it is illegal to do, so when the police sees these kind of stolen birds or captured birds, they need to release them back to the wild. So what Pedro and his family are doing on the farm is they just have some cages set up, so they bring captured birds. There's some toucans, we saw some pictures of some owls, and you can find them on this Fazenda Pinhal Instagram, which we'll link you to. But it's really cool program, and it's just a great place. As well as being incredibly environmentally friendly throughout all their processes. The Wings program was just a really cool addition to that great farm. Christmas coffee flavor notes will include, but not limited to, brown sugar, ruskia sokaria, which is a really classic one in coffee. And if you get a good coffee that's properly roasted, I don't say you always get that, but that's a really nice sweetness. I mean, brown sugar, it's good. And then so there's a little bit of dark chocolate and some spices in here. Like I said, the spices are coming from this Honduras macerated natural, which by itself, we have featured that coffee before and we will probably bring it back. But by itself, it can be super overwhelming, but the fermentation and the fruity notes from that are really dynamic and exciting. But mixed with this nice, simple and easy Brazil, which gives you nice, good body and basically just sweetness because the acidity is low, really low in that Brazilian coffee. So you get nice body, little sweetness, dynamic Ethiopia, clean, classic black tea flavors, and then you cap it off with a dash of what would be Christmas spice, is that Honduras macerated natural. Yeah, I mean, it's a great medium roast coffee, really easy to drink. And so this is why it's such a great Christmas present. Not only will your friends and family be wowed by this incredible new bag that we have, which is just a nice art piece and gift in itself, but the coffee inside is super easy to drink. Offers a lot of range of flavors. Like I said, you can extract this a lot less, and it'll be you can get it a little bit more acidic and not so roasty, or you can kind of over extract it, which sort of, if you're going with Christmas food or some some of your laticos, it's a great pair for that stuff. So it's nice and round and deep flavors, but it's not overly roasted, so you don't have to worry about the brewing too much actually. And you're not gonna get too many kind of burned roast notes, so it's gonna go really well. And because of the high sweetness and macerated natural, it also fits well with kind of desserts and things like that. So, wicked Christmas present. Don't miss that. opportunity to tell your friends and family how much you care this holiday season. That's probably too much. But yeah, great coffee. Oh, I really like the nice plums, like that sort of really dried, I don't say old, but really well dried plums that are kind of sticky and sweet. I really like that a lot. But has enough power in it to be a great winter coffee. So if you compare the two of these, basically this one is a little bit more simple and straightforward. It's not as sweet, so it's kind of on the more powerful side. And this one is more dynamic and exciting. So you can brew it darker and full-bodied and make it like really heavy, or you can brew it lighter and make it more dynamic and more like wild. Whereas this one is straight through, everyday drinker all through from now till we get the sun back in, I don't know, June. But yeah, a really good pair actually, and a nice together gift. Which brings me to the final section. So we're gonna run a little contest. So now's your chance to slide in the DMs or comment on this video. Tell us why you deserve a winter survival package. The package is gonna be 1 Svante coffee, 1 Yolo coffee, and this sweet Christmas colored O2 V60 brewer, which is perfect for brewing multiple cups of coffee. So yeah, jump in the DMs or comment on this video and tell us why you deserve it or why you need it. Because winter in Finland can be tough, but we're on your side, guys. And we want you to drink good coffee and stay happy all winter long. So do that. We'll see you on the interwebs. Thanks for drinking along with me, and I will see you in the streets.
Cut.